Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Nice to have all of you here. I was just about time, so thank you for the invitation. Today, I'm going to discuss a little more about the security services and the regulatory compliance that we at Mnemonica we've been doing for the last 10 years. It's quite a dry matter, so I don't believe that I'll have big applauses here or jokes. So maybe I won't need 30 minutes, but anyway, just a short, brief presentation of Mnemonica. We started the company in 2009, and our core business at that point of time was data protection, storages, and we decided to partner with the Mercedes in that area. It was EMC at that time, now it is Dell. So for the most of the telcos that were presented in Bulgaria at that point of time, we've been delivering huge storage systems that were responsible to store, protect the data, and most of it to fit in with the regulations, and they were related to data retention at that point of time because they were obliged to the data to be stored, and they had to prove that no one can manipulate the data when it was stored once. So after that, in 2014, we decided to turn to cybersecurity. All our partners that were doing business with hardware and software, they said, okay, what's it all about cybersecurity? There's no money in it. From that perspective today, I believe that we did the right turn. And we started certifying and training our engineers for providing cybersecurity services to all the customers, including telcos and network operators. And 2 years after that, we found out that regulations that were coming across Europe, across Bulgaria, across the world are very important. And we had to comply with them, and mostly our customers had to comply with all the regulations. So we needed to read them closely and to understand them in order to provide services that were related to all the regulations. And in the last 2 years, we started doing cybersecurity business in the cloud. For almost 15 years that we operate on the Bulgarian market, we have steady growth. We had several awards related to cybersecurity, data processing, and we believe our work influences more than 100K employees in different customers. What is our core business and how is it related to telcos and network operators? Actually, we have Security Operations Center that we started 3 years ago. In that Security Operations Center, we have a number of systems, a bunch of systems that we were supposed to make them work together. And the most difficult thing was not to implement the technology and to start using it. The most difficult thing was to build all the playbooks, the rules, and how the SOC analysts need to perform when there is an incident. So we have a SIEM system in that SOC, which is actually the heart, the core of the Security Operations Center. All the logs are going to the SOC. We do breach prevention, incident detection, data exfiltration, and having in mind that we have orchestration system, which is the SOAR implemented, what we do is proactive data monitoring. Because the crucial thing in one Security Operations Center is to react on time. Every time you're late, actually, the bad guys, they have some kind of advantage. And that's why we have SLAs for reacting for an incident in 30 minutes. Because we're talking today about regulations and compliance, we can perform audits and analysis related to all the standards. I mean GDPR, DSS, ISO 27001, anti-money laundering, and something that is important for you as well. I believe you know about whistleblowing. Recently in May, Bulgaria transposed the European law that was related to giving the opportunity to all the employees in a company to report about something wrong, to report about corruption, for example. So whistleblowing is all about that. We provide procedures and tools that allow all the employees within an organization to report something that they find unusual. And we prepare all the IT procedures, we do gap analysis, solution deployment, and last but not least is about NIS directives that actually, last year was issued NIS2 directive, which is all about network information security. And it is more and more GDPR-like because they actually impersonified all the fines, while in NIS1 it was the company is going to be fined if there is some kind of breach. In NIS2, the CEO of the company will be personally fined, and it will be his personal responsibility to comply with all the regulations. And the fines go up to 20 million euro or 4% of the annual turnover of the company, the bigger of two, of course. And the almighty DORA directive, Digital Operations Resilience Act. It is related to the financial institutions, but they have to comply and they have to prove that they are prepared to be resilient in any kind of disaster that might happen. Of course, being in the field of cybersecurity, Mnemonic also provides penetration testing, vulnerability scanning. We provide it to all the telcos here in Bulgaria. We test not only web applications, but mobile applications as well. Infrastructure and network security, internal audit, and of course, risk management. Something that is related to any company within Bulgaria, or not only within Bulgaria, but all over the world, it is about crisis management. Because most of the companies, they say, okay, we are technically prepared, we have procedures, we have all the rules and regulations, but actually what we do together with them is some kind of crisis management and enterprise communications that they need to be prepared when, unfortunately, an accident happens. They need to communicate the proper way with all the customers and partners what has happened. They need to know to what authority they need to report. And of course, after that, we go to post-incident and recovery services, because I'm coming from a cybersecurity training in the morning, and when I ask the trainees, okay, what is to be done when an incident happens, they say, okay, we need to plug the network cable. And this is the understanding nowadays of crisis management. You need to unplug the power or the network equipment. And talking about trainings, it is crucial for any kind of organization, especially for telcos, to be trained, and all the employees that you have to be trained in a proper way. Maybe you're not the guys that are going to be trained about general security awareness training, but more in-depth cybersecurity training for professionals. We do that as well, and it comes from our senior engineers. And something that we find the most vulnerable or the most important vector of attack is social engineering. We we discussed with all our customers that they need to follow that minimal principle of sharing least information. Then they don't need to share too much, and they need just to answer the questions that they've been asked, not to talk about general stuff. And that's why we find that employees from different companies, including telcos, when they share some personal stuff over the internet, over the social networks, sometimes they share confidential and professional information as well. So this is in brief what Mnemonica actually does. And I hope if something goes in your minds from that presentation, I hope that it will be that slide. So going in deep about the network security and regulations, key aspects of network security and all the common practices, regulatory practices are related to three main points: security measures and network monitoring, which actually we have a dedicated slide for that in a minute. These are all the technical measures that we need to do for monitoring what we have about the assets that we operate. Second point is related to data protection and regulatory compliance. How we actually protect the data, again, technical, and what regulations we need to comply with coming from the local authorities or from the European authorities as well. And the third point is about audits, assessments, and of course, what I mentioned just a minute ago is employee awareness and training. So, starting from the first one, you guys know better than me that in telecommunications, you have a lot of routers, you have a lot of switches, you have firewalls. The most important thing is how do you operate. I'm not going to talk about these technologies, you know them better than me. Of course, nowadays no one is using the traditional firewalls. We use next generation firewalls that are capable of blocking on layer 7 all the traffic. And I'm going to talk about how you operate all these technologies and who of your actually staff personnel has access to what and how do you maintain that. In most of the cases, the problems that our customers face are with privileged users and root users, administrators, because they are the ones that are supposed to be responsible how the technology works and how it is maintained. Actually, it is a challenge when you need to see and monitor what your administrator does right now. That's why when you have these kind of systems, in most of the cases, we help our customers implement role-based authentication, RBAC. We help them and actually encourage them to implement when maintaining all these equipment, not to use only passwords and count on that it is only internally accessed, but to use two-factor authentication as well. And of course, systems for monitoring privileged account management. This is something that we specialize in, and we can give you a different view of what your administrators do and to what they do have access. Data protection and compliance. 2 years ago, not 2 years ago, but in 2018 until 2020, Mnemonica was all about GDPR. We did a lot of gap analysis and we implemented a lot of tools to help our customers collect the metadata that they do need to prove what has happened. And I do believe that it is quite narrow as a font, but anyway. After the gap, after the GDPR boom, now we are all about PCI DSS, network security, vulnerability management. Actually, most of the things that we do right now, we've been hired from our customers to the vulnerability scanning, penetration testing, and some of our, actually 35% of our revenue is coming from telecommunication companies that they hire us to test the public-facing services, the services that they offer to the customers. We do analysis like what is your access control level, and how the system that I implemented, which I implemented to monitor the equipment, how do they work. I believe that in the next couple of years, it will be all about NIS2, the second directive that I mentioned just a few seconds ago. And it will be about Digital Operation Resilience Act, DORA, which is related to financial sector as well. But having in mind that you all provide services to financial customers, you'll need to know what DORA is, how it operates, and how to comply with that. So, about the standards and the things that we do, I believe it is just like that. I'm not going to go deeper in the directives, regulations, standards, but one thing just to remind, there is the European regulations that is coming about the certification of the equipment. For example, right now you can purchase equipment from any kind of vendor that is somewhere in the world. Very soon it will be, it is related to digital resilience as well. Very soon it will be impossible to purchase equipment from a Chinese vendor, for example, that is not certified, that it is cyber protected as well. The hardware in it is not harmful and is not exposing any kind of information. This is a new act that is coming across Europe, and neither me as individual nor you as organizations will be able to purchase equipment that is not certified for digital and cyber security. Audits and assessments are something that actually takes 50% of our time right now. In all the telcos in Bulgaria, actually, at some point of time, we did some kind of audit or gap analysis, how they respond, react, or correspond to the requirements of any kind of regulation requirements. And the crucial thing, as I mentioned, for telecommunication companies will be NIS2. About the trainings, it is not related only to telecommunications. It is related to any kind of company that has at least one employee. And if these people are not well prepared, if they're not aware of what is coming, it will be impossible for them to operate in the modern digital world. So we do a lot of trainings, and we actually have a training that is self-paced. Some of our banking customers are being trained right now. With that, with all the managers, they can have a view on what the employees have been passing, like trainings. What is the score, the passing score that they do have, and even now, today in the morning, we were asked to prepare a very, very basic training for a customer and just point out, do you know what is that lock in the upper left corner of a browser, and what does it mean when it is green or when it is red? So it is all very basic and very simple, but you need to train the people and the employees on some general cybersecurity stuff, having in mind that they're in a telecommunication company, that they operate with sensitive data, because you guys handle a lot more than your personal, not only personal, but company data. You are able to handle all the customer data as well, and sensitive, a lot of more sensitive data. That's all about trainings, and just some some numbers that are coming from our security operations center. We have different areas of operations that can help any telco actually have in-depth view about what is happening. We can monitor all the cloud assets of the customer. We have CASP systems that actually monitor the cloud access, and they do cloud brokerage of that access. We have endpoint security that it is not the traditional antivirus anymore. We actually do profiling of every employee, at what time they start normal everyday business work, at what time they go out for lunch, at what is the speed that they type on the keyboard, and we can produce a very, very good profile of a customer, and to actually predict if that customer is going to that employee, is going to do something bad, or if they have some kind of problem. Network security is something that is related to you as well. And just to point some things, some numbers. 3 years ago, when we started with our security operations center, we had to deal with something like 30,000 events per day, which is a huge number, and there is no single SOC analyst that can provide processing of such kind of number. After having the proper correlations and avoiding false positives, we managed to lower that number to 30 incidents per day. And out of these 30 incidents, we need to investigate 25 alerts that are something aside, because in our SOC we have incidents, which is some kind of event with higher security, and alert that is something that they need to think about it and just needs to be checked. The investigations, these are numbers coming from the last month. We do something like 60 different investigations per day, and these investigations are related to not only to incidents, but the signals that are coming from our customers related to email communication, related to website abuse, and things like that. The things that is more interesting is something that we do proactive threat hunting. Proactive threat hunting means that we can actually take your name, take your credit card numbers, take some kind of information that you share with us, and we can monitor, of course, with tools and partners, we can monitor the dark web and protect you by having predictive information of what is actually discussed on the dark web forums about your companies, what is actually being traded on that forums about credit card numbers or accounts that are coming from any kind of company. For example, we can say that, okay, guys, you have a breach and 10 accounts have been leaked, so they are now being sold on the dark web. This is how a SOC works, and we can also deploy honeypots if you want to test how your companies perform against attacks. We can deploy different honeypots, and these honeypots attract the bad guys, and we can try at least to tell you what is actually being planned against you. This is a general diagram of SOC structure. The core, the SIEM system, firewalls, data controllers, APO systems that are feeding the SIEM. Of course, email as well, and all the communication channels and vectors of attack that can be fed within the system. SOAR system that orchestrates all the events that are coming, and all the playbooks that because it is impossible actually to react manually. It is crucial to react in an automatic way. That's why we have the playbooks that can take any kind of decision. And we even go one step further. We can tell our security operations center, if it is allowed by the customer as well, just send a command to the firewall, to the router, just block that traffic, or do whatever you want. Just prevent that breach. And of course, we have response. We need to do some configuration changes, rule changes, and do analysis what was actually all about that attack. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do we have any questions from the room? If you don't mind, I want to ask a question. So in our trainings, in our security trainings, we always insist that we should have the IPv4 and IPv6 feature parity for the security equipment, security infrastructure, or software, whatever it is. So do we have that in your products? I mean, whatever you can do with the IPv4, you can do the same with IPv6 as well. Is it the case, or is there a gap between?
Yes, actually, it is the case. Having in mind that we don't have our own products, we operate with products of state-of-the-art world vendors. Most of them, 95% of them, have implemented.
Can do
they
IPv6
can do that. Well. They do have machine learning IPv6. So.
Okay. Thank you very much then. Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you.